What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved stars turns a casual talk show chat into one of the strangest viral moments of the year? Drew Barrymore's now famous foot-smelling segment is one of the few moments in daytime television that successfully combines humor, discomfort, and pure unpredictableness. On The Drew Barrymore Show on October 7, 2025, the incident started out as a harmless conversation about personal hygiene, but quickly turned into something nobody could have predicted. It quickly gained popularity on social media, sparking innumerable memes, discussions, and thought pieces on authenticity, boundaries, and the peculiar magic of virality. The theme of the episode was cleanliness, and the particular piece focused on how frequently individuals wash their feet, a commonplace subject that most people would never think could make headlines. Co-hosts Ross Mathews and Sunny Anderson joined Barrymore, who struck up a conversation about bathing habits. When Barrymore chose to live-stream her personal hygiene regimen on camera, what had begun as a lighthearted discussion about the value of cleaning one's feet took an unexpected turn. She took off one of her shoes without thinking, raised her bare foot to her face, and took a dramatic sniff. She laughed as she said, "They're dirty, but they don't smell." While Anderson and Mathews gaped at her in shock, the audience burst out laughing. Known for embracing her eccentricities, Barrymore then asked her co-hosts to sniff her foot for themselves. "It smells like a whole lot of nothing," Anderson acknowledged in jest as he leaned forward and smelled. After a nervous laugh, Mathews concurred that Barrymore was a smell-good girl. There was a moment of absurdity and companionship among the three that was as unplanned as it was unreal. Barrymore asked the studio audience how frequently they bathed their feet, turning the discussion into a little survey to keep things humorous. Barrymore humbly admitted that she only washed hers once a week, letting water just run over them most days, whereas over 87% of respondents raised their hands to indicate they did so every day. The strange demonstration and the admission created a viral video that swiftly dominated social media timelines. The viral success of the clip wasn't a coincidence. It was attractive for internet sharing and commentary because of a number of perfectly connected factors. A host sniffing her foot on live television is a rare occurrence, although honest moments are often in talk shows. Attention was immediately drawn to the act's utter unexpectedness, because there was no script or precedence for viewers to expect this kind of behavior. The shock value resulted in clicks and curiosity. Talking about hygiene, particularly when it comes to body parts like feet, frequently veers into areas deemed too personal or unattractive for public display. Cultural comfort zones were challenged by Barrymore's willingness to practically bring such a topic to the forefront of her performance. Depending on your point of view, this act of vulnerability or eccentricity became a talking point about what is and isn't appropriate for daytime television. The event entered a realm of unprecedented physical intimacy when Anderson and Mathews bent down to smell Barrymore's foot. There was an almost embarrassing intimacy between the hosts that is uncommon in professional talk shows. Some viewers found it humorous and amusing, while others found it strangely intrusive. In any case, it was hard to turn away. Barrymore's combination of authenticity and raw comedy has always been what made her so appealing. It felt charmingly human of her to acknowledge that she only washes her feet once a week and to joke about it. The act's oddness was counterbalanced by the humorous attractiveness of spontaneity and lack of self-consciousness. Any weird visual moment has the potential to go viral in today's media landscape. Within hours, headlines like "Drew Barrymore gets co-hosts to smell her feet on air" appeared on entertainment websites including Reality Tea, 9honey Celebrity, and IB Times UK. On X, Instagram, and TikTok, short videos became viral, and viewers debated whether they were hilarious, gross, or pure Drew energy. Even others who did not watch the broadcast saw the tape because of how ridiculous the segment was and how it became a meme. It's crucial to take into account Barrymore's on-air character and the tone of the Drew Barrymore Show in order to comprehend why the incident transpired as it did. The show has fostered an image of warmth, genuineness, and spontaneity since its premiere. Barrymore's interviews, which are full of emotional openness, tears, humor, and moments of self-disclosure, frequently blur the boundaries between host and guest. Her openness, which occasionally verges on oversharing, has won her over audiences who view her as approachable rather than professional. This mentality was perfectly embodied by the foot-sniffing prank, a moment of unfiltered Drew in which she turned a commonplace subject into a live theatrical production. But unlike her usual personal stories, it struck a different chord since it was so unexpected and physical. As expected, the responses to the foot-smelling part were divisive, reflecting larger cultural differences about propriety, comedy, and comfort. Reactions on social media varied from laughter to indirect shame. While some thought Barrymore's comic boldness was gross or too much information, others hailed it as hilarious and harmless. As the phrase "Drew Barrymore feet" gained popularity, mashups, reaction videos, and GIFs were created. Words like bizarre, shocking, and cringe were used in headlines from publications like Atlanta Black Star. Nevertheless, the segment's ridiculous charm made it one of the most talked-about entertainment moments of the week. Even the uneasy critics acknowledged that they couldn't stop watching. The public's laughter was not shared by everyone involved in the production. Mandatory and Reality Tea have reported that a number of crew members experienced discomfort during the taping. According to reports, the personnel was taken aback by the stunt's spontaneity, which resulted in an unpleasant moment behind the cameras. Barrymore's impulsive enthusiasm can sometimes blur workplace boundaries, according to one insider. There is no proof that the incident resulted in any official problems on site, despite this discomfort. According to reports, producers recognized the segment's potential for attention and chose to keep it in the show. They were not mistaken. Barrymore showed no signs of embarrassment. She approached the piece humorously, admitting live that it was a weird thing to do, but she still leaned into it. Throughout the show, Anderson's comment that her foot smells like a whole lot of nothing became a common joke, and Barrymore maintained a positive tone. She even joked about the internet buzz at the following day's tape, demonstrating that she was aware of the humor rather than taking offense. The foot-smelling incident highlights a number of cultural elements beneath its humor and weirdness. Talk shows during the day depend on relatability. It is expected of hosts to be both professional and personable. Barrymore's section serves as an example of how quickly that equilibrium can shift. Although one of her main draws is her openness, the physical act of sniffing her foot and encouraging others to do the same blurred the lines between performance and private person. In this age of excessive sharing, viewers want public personalities to be real. Barrymore's brand has always included her candor. She reinforced her reputation as someone who isn't scared to be silly or flawed by making herself the target of the joke. However, when physical intimacy or taboo subjects are brought up, this same sincerity may veer into discomfort. What was once a quick, dumb, on-air joke has now become a topic of conversation throughout the world. The clip's existence went well beyond its initial airing. It was reposted, recaptioned, and endlessly examined. The virality serves as an example of how entertainment today functions in a system where even the most bizarre actions can result in widespread publicity. Whether on purpose or not, Barrymore's action brought in the kind of publicity that many shows strive for with millions of dollars. Converting routine hygiene practices into amusement has a naturally humorous and accessible quality. Barrymore capitalized on an incredibly common fascination by discussing foot washing. How frequently do individuals wash their feet? She produced participative and intimate material by fusing comedy with commonplace relatability. Not everyone who watched thought the act was innocent fun. There were legitimate concerns expressed by critics regarding working dynamics, professionalism, and taste. The close-up shots of bare feet were unnerving to many, especially during the day. Even though the act was intended to be humorous, not all audiences found its visceral quality appealing. Uncomfortable moments behind the scenes highlight how impromptu behavior can conflate work and personal boundaries. Staff responses demonstrate that spontaneity must still take comfort and context into account. Even if all on-air participants gave their agreement, the difference between professionalism and gimmickry, the act, according to several TV commentators, devalued the tone of the program. Although Barrymore is known for her genuineness, there is a thin line separating her genuine humor from antics that could turn off certain audience members. Despite being obviously consenting, the episode sparked new conversations about on-set physical encounters. On camera and off camera, what one person finds humorous may cause discomfort for another. Entertainment publications ranging from EW.com to IBT Times UK provided in-depth coverage of the program in the days after the airing. Talk show recaps, morning radio chatter, and social media conversation were all dominated by the subject. Millions of people watched the clips, and TikTok and X momentarily saw trending hashtags like #Drew Barrymore feet. Curiously, the show appeared to gain from the notoriety. That week's episode ratings increased somewhat, probably due to viewer curiosity. Barrymore's admirers commended her for her modesty, but others were still debating whether the part was a hilarious comedy or a humiliating blunder. The incident can have an impact on the planning of subsequent portions from a production perspective. Although networks are pushing hosts to produce viral moments more and more, the Drew Barrymore foot incident showed the dangers of spontaneity, specifically that virality can result in unexpected scrutiny. If this story left you shocked or just plain curious, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more wild behind-the-scenes moments from the world of entertainment.